We shall have a word of prayer, and the prayer will be said by Dr. Pamela from the National Planning Authority to give us a word of prayer. Thanks a lot, Doctor. You are the most anointed this afternoon.
Thank you. Let's humble ourselves in prayer. Lord, Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for our lovely country, Uganda. Lord, we thank you for His Excellency, the President, for the vision he has for this country that you've put in his head to guide this country. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to serve this country. We thank you for all the blessings that you've given us. We ask, Lord, that you bless us as we embark on this journey to develop the automotive industry of this country. Guide us, Lord, guide our president, guide our leaders, our ministers, our parliamentarians, so that we can work together in one unity to serve you for your glory. We ask you this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable Ministers present, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Where I grew up, it is the elders who welcome the visitors. But should the visitors come and they find you and the elders are not yet there, then you have to greet the visitors as the elders organize themselves. I'm only saying that someone more qualified will be welcoming you. But allow me tell you a very short story that in the year 1986, there is a young boy who was in his O-levels, and because of the scarcity of sugar, he used his size to benefit. He went to the office, which I'm told was either for the district executive secretary or district commissioner, who was issuing cheats for you to go and buy sugar. This young boy, because of his size, was able to always go and get quite a number of cheats. Then he would go and sell that sugar to get some pocket money. The reason was that there are many people who had the money, but they didn't have the sugar. They didn't have the sugar to buy. It is very interesting that this afternoon, that young boy is here when there is plenty of sugar. But not only do we have plenty of those commodities, we are here, and that young boy then is here and is observing a very, very strategic investment for this country. Your Excellency, that young boy is none other than myself. I have seen the fundamental change that you promised. And seeing this factory here, this vehicle plant, is a dream come true. Someone who had to go and line up to get for a cheat, to go and get sugar, is now seeing a factory that is going to manufacture vehicles. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We appreciate your leadership, your visionary leadership. My name is Mugunga Emmanuel Freddy. I'm the Undersecretary at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, but I had prior to that, I was in the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation, and worked with these wonderful scientists here and have seen them come up with this. So we are greatly honored that you are here to lay the foundation stone, which marks a great stride in the history of Uganda. I will not take a lot of time because we know your schedule as it stands, and I will quickly now invite the Executive Chairman of Kiramoto's Corporation to come and deliver his remarks. Professor Tikodri, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Fred. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Uganda, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, Managing Director and staff of National Enterprises Corporation General, the Board Chairman of Tondeka Metro Company and your delegation, members of the private sector, development partners, the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, Mr. President, today is my day of partial accountability. Your Excellency, I would like to first of all express my profound gratitude for your visionary leadership of the country, and more specifically, the relentless effort you have invested in the push for industrialization of our economy. Your presence here today to lay a foundation stone for the Kira vehicle plant is a testament of your support towards Ugandan scientists in their quest to commercialize their research and the innovations in the various sectors. Your Excellency, in 2011, during the launch of the Kira EV, the lime green electric vehicle at Makerere University, you proclaimed this milestone as the dawn of African Renaissance. Subsequently, you have been an ardent champion of building the indigenous motor vehicle industry in Uganda. Your Excellency, you will recall that in 2020, you directed there should be no more importation of fully built buses in Uganda. You further guided, one, that as a country and Africa, we must aggressively get out of the practice of importing built-up and knockdown vehicles, but consider the correct strategy of vehicle fabrication for buses, lorries, pickups, and cars. Two, we must move decisively in the issue of automobiles. In that effort, we would follow two lines: the Kira Kayola electric vehicles and the Metu Katabazi bus fabrication lines. All buses to be used in Uganda should be fabricated here, whether electric or diesel. Your Excellency, you have been a witness to, I think, those, the fulfillment of those guidelines. 3, the private sector, Kampala City Council Authority, and schools, among others, should work with Kiramoto's Corporation and the Metu Katabazi to make those automobiles here. Those were the directives. Government, under your visionary leadership, has taken definitive steps towards building the indigenous automotive industry in Uganda. In April 2018, Cabinet of the Republic of Uganda approved the roadmap and the seed fund for the establishment of Kira vehicle plants on 100 acres of land at the Uganda Industrial Authority Jinja Industrial Park, where we are now. The steps taken are based on the understanding that building the indigenous automotive vehicle industry provides an unprecedented opportunity for promoting value addition to Uganda's mineral and other natural resources, with the view of import substitution and export promotion of motor vehicles, vehicle parts, components, and systems. Your Excellency, having received 92 billion capitalization from government, the following are some of the key accomplishments by Kiramoto's Corporation. First, government acting through Uganda Investment Authority allocated 100 acres of land in the Jinja Industrial and Business Park for setting up the Kira vehicle plant. I believe the Honorable Minister who did that is here. There she is. The environmental impact assessment, geotechnical analysis, cadastral and topographical surveys were conducted, and a certificate of title issued to Kiramoto's Corporation. That means we have addressed issues of environmental damages. 2, construction and installation of 3.5 kilometer long, 33 kV electricity line connecting the Kira vehicle plant site to the national electricity grid. 3, construction and installation of a 5.4 kilometer 6-inch water pipeline connecting Kira vehicle plant site to the municipal water supply. 4, the construction of the Kira vehicle plant startup facilities. Those are the assembly shop, warehouse, in-plant circulation roads, perimeter fence, wastewater treatment plant, site drainage, and the utility distribution, which is being undertaken by UPDF through the National Enterprises Corporation, supervised by Technology Consults, and it stands at 85% of completion as of July this year. Your Excellency, here I plead guilty because I wrote to you to direct me to work with the General Ngisa here. And so if there's any guilt, I'm the one and not the General. Okay. 5, Kiramoto's Corporation, through technology partnership with China High-Tech Corporation, developed 2 bus platforms, the Kayola EVS, a fully electric bus with a range of 30 kilometers on a single charge, meaning once I charge it fully, it will travel a distance of 300 kilometers before requiring the next recharge. Second, the Kayola coach, which is an internal combustion engine, which has an internal combustion engine and electric platforms. The 2 Kayola electric buses and the Kayola diesel coach, which we built with support from National Enterprise Corporation Luweero Industries in Nakasongola provide complimentary shuttle services to Uganda Civil Aviation Authority along 2 routes, Express Highway and Entebbe Road, as part of our market validation. 6, government acting through Uganda National Bureau of Standards secured a World Manufacturers Identifier for Uganda from International Society of Automotive Engineers, thus paving the way for Uganda vehicle exports to other regions. In other words, once we get this plant ready in December, we shall be able to produce vehicles which will be identified as originating from Uganda and which we can export. 7, drafted the National Automotive Industry Policy to provide an enabling environment for domestic value addition and the development of a sustainable automotive industry in Uganda. And lastly, 8, Kiramoto Corporation is working with the Tondeka Metro, Rentico, and Golden Dragon to produce 30,000 buses for the regional market, with 65% parts and components localized by 2030. This builds on the successful development of the Kayola electric and the diesel buses through technology partnerships, utilizing the facilities and the resources at Luweero Industries in Nakasongola, and the deployment of the Kayola buses for over a year since July 2020, providing shuttle services to Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. Kiramoto's and partners plan to produce and deploy 1,030 buses initially starting in January 2022. We are talking of about 6 months from now. 50 of these will be electric. The initiative is aimed at modernizing public transport in the urban centers in Uganda and beyond, while building the indigenous motor vehicle industry through technology transfer and supply chains. Your Excellency, building on the momentum garnered, the following are the key interventions to harnessing the potential of Kira vehicle plant investment and establishment of the automotive industry and technology park for supply chain localization. First, fully capitalize Kira Motors Corporation to operationalize the Kira vehicle plants in Jinja and establish the automotive industry and technology parks to support a wide range of investments in the motor vehicles and the parts manufacturing, vehicle testing, automotive engineering, research and development, technology innovation, and recycling facilities for end-of-life automotive technology. You know, the vehicles that we drive here, Your Excellency, are on the average 16 years old by the time we're registering them here. Soon they will cease to function, and we must do something about their disposal. Second, guarantee off-take market for buses, trucks, pickups, and SUVs by signing off-take agreements with domestic motor vehicle manufacturers. Your Excellency, it's important that the budding domestic motor vehicle manufacturers are equally given opportunity to compete for the available demand based on the merit of their offerings to ensure competitiveness at the onset of building the indigenous automotive industry. 3, actively promote shift to high volume vehicles, ultimately using environmentally friendly powertrains for public transport. And that's why we started with those buses, Your Excellency, you have seen. regulate the importation of used vehicles, used auto parts, and the fully built units. And 5, streamline the motor vehicle registration process to incorporate electric vehicles and the powertrain technology. Because, Your Excellency, as of now, if you buy an electric vehicle and you went to the registration processes, your car will not be registered because there's no provision for that as at the moment. 5, we establish charging infrastructure in cities, along highways, at airports, and the tourism sites to promote the shift to electric mobility and explore a preferred energy tariff for EV charging. Your Excellency, I would like to report that the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development is with us on this. 7, invest in mineral development. For minerals are vital ingredients for localization of motor vehicle parts and components. 8, establish an automotive skilling program and a specialized curricula on automotive engineering and higher education. Your Excellency, here we are thinking of what was done for the petroleum industry when the Kigumba unit was set up to skill the people who would be going in that industry. A similar thing can be done here, which Kira can then use to upskill the young people we get from Kisenyi, we get from Katuya, and these other places. Kakira. And Kakira. And 9, institutionalize key motor vehicle standards and regulations to engender safety and enhanced environment stewardship while building the indigenous automotive industry. And finally, put in place comprehensive facilitative physical package to promote value addition and the nascent industry for import substitution, supply chain, localization, and export. Your Excellency, I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to the Managing Director and the staff of the National Enterprises Corporation, as well as Technology Consults Limited, for the job well done so far in putting up these facilities with the instructive quality that we have just witnessed during the tour, the constraints posed by COVID-19 pandemic notwithstanding. Your Excellency, this further exemplifies your visionary leadership in the development of the local capacity to undertake strategic government projects. As I conclude, Your Excellency, allow me to convey our indebtedness to you on behalf of the board, management, and the staff of Kiramoto's Corporation for the trust and the support over the years toward establishing the Kira vehicle plant. The investment highlights the strategic importance of value addition, import substitution, and export promotions of vehicles, parts, components, and systems as an enabler of the economic transformation of Uganda as prospected in Vision 2040. So building a better Uganda through automotive industry, or through automotive technology, and for God and my country. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Kodri and Executive Chairman. Your Excellency, the Executive Chairman of Kiramoto's Corporation, who also chairs the board, is not alone. He's with the members of the board, who include the Vice Chancellor of Makerere University, who is also here with us, and some members of the board. Your Excellency, as we were en route to securing our future, I read the NRM manifesto, and on page 84, the party, thanks to God, which came back in power, it was clearly stated by the visionary leadership of the party that in order to promote motor vehicle, tractor, and other assemblers in Uganda through Bubu, we shall buy from them an agreed number and types of products annually. We thank you for that promise. Kiramoto has a market already. Your Excellency, again, in the speech by Professor Tkodri, Executive Chairman, he says that with 92 billion, we have been able to do ABC. And I also know that when you learn from the best, you may not necessarily be the best, but you get the best. I also know, and because of that, I have also learned to quote the Bible, which you always quote very, very well. And Luke 16, chapter 16, verse 10 says, depending on the version of the Bible you read, it says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with little will also be dishonest with much. Kiramoto has been trusted with what has been trusted with so far. They can be trusted with much. NEC has been trusted with this little. They can be trusted with much more in as far as infrastructure development of the country is concerned. Permit me at this time, Your Excellency, to invite the next speaker, who is Honorable Lieutenant General Mujira, the Managing Director of National Enterprise Corporation. You are welcome. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the honorable ministers here present, the board and management of Kiramoto's Corporation, distinguished invited ladies and gentlemen. As I've been introduced, I'm Lieutenant General James Mujira, and I'm the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Enterprise Corporation, which is the business and commercial arm of the Uganda People's Defense Forces and the Ministry of Defense. Permit me, Your Excellency, on behalf of NEC and on my own behalf, thank you for finding time off your busy schedule to come and lay this foundation stone for the Kiramoto vehicle plant. Sir, whereas you have been briefed about this project before, and if I may also quote the Bible, the Holy Bible in John 20, verse 29, says that blessed are those who believe without seeing. Your presence here, physical presence, see for yourself exactly what is being done on the ground, I believe will give Your Excellency a clear and better picture of the progress made so far, and is also a big morale booster and energizes all of us who are involved in the execution of this strategic project. Your Excellency, sir, I am not going to issues of scope of works and other technical issues. These have been ably covered by Professor Tkodri. Permit me, therefore, to briefly talk about 4 or 5 points, focusing on our involvement as National Enterprise Corporation and Uganda People's Defense Forces. First of all, I want to thank Your Excellency for the trust and confidence in our capabilities and for entrusting us with this project, not only of strategic significance to the country, but also of such magnitude. Your Excellency, sir, when you issued a directive on the 6th of November 2018 that NEC and UPDF undertakes this project, many voices were raised, both in public and private. The prophets of doom and naysayers started speculating and predicting the failure of the project. Some of them, pursuing personal interests, even branded us non-starters and were praying and looking forward to our failure. Your Excellency, I reminded my team of the words of the late Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, may his soul rest in eternal peace, who, when addressing the National Chama cha Mapinduzi conference in Arusha in 1978, declared war on Idi Amin, whose forces had invaded and captured the Kagera salient, and he had this to say, I quote, "Sababu ya kumpiga tunayo, nia ya kumpiga tunayo, na uwezo wa kumpiga tunao." Meaning that Tanzania had the reason, it had the purpose or aim, and the capacity to defeat Idi Amin forces. Similarly, on our part, Your Excellency, we are determined to prove these groups wrong because we are confident of our capacity, our willingness, our ability, our commitment and resolve, and determination to deliver the project, and never to betray the trust that had been bestowed on us by Your Excellency. Your Excellency, sir, as NEC and UPDF, apart from clearly understanding and appreciating the strategic significance of this project, where Uganda is for the first time going to initially assemble and later manufacture vehicle parts and components, we also appreciate the major role militaries play worldwide in the socio-economic development of nations. UPDF and its forerunner, the National Resistance Army, has always been in the vanguard, and having politically liberated this country and brought about the peace and security prevailing today, the UPDF is now in the vanguard of socio-economic emancipation by, among others, actively getting involved in projects that support the growth and development of our motherland. We are also aware, Your Excellency, that for long, projects of such magnitude have been executed by foreign companies who, in most cases, end up repatriating all the hard-earned foreign currency, sometimes loans got by this government. Your Excellency, sir, 7 years ago I visited Sri Lanka, and I was surprised to find that the name of the Ministry of Defense had been changed in 2011 to the Ministry of Defense and Urban Development. I couldn't understand the relationship and how urban development could fall under the Ministry of Defense docket until the Honorable Minister explained to me that after the defeat of the Tamil Tigers, the big idle force had to be mobilized to carry out the reconstruction of the country. Indeed, the entire city of Colombo and other towns, especially in the north of the country, had battalions of military engineers deployed to work on the roads, on the water, on the power, on sewage, etc. In our case here, Your Excellency, whereas NEC and UPDF Engineering Brigade has progressively built some technical capacity, it has not until recently been given opportunity to participate in execution of such big projects. It has largely been undertaking small projects within the Ministry of Defense and the UPDF. However, Your Excellency, following your strategic guidance, that NEC, utilizing personnel of the UPDF, of the Engineers Brigade, participates in national strategic projects in order to build internal capacity and be able to undertake major infrastructure projects in future. And your observation as clearly stated in the directive to the effect that, I quote, the UPDF engineering capacity can best be utilized through NEC, which is the business arm of the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs and the UPDF. NEC has since provided the umbrella and legal framework under which the UPDF engineers have been able to operate. Apart from this, our project, we have now had other engagements with government ministries, departments, and agencies, among others, the Ministry of Agriculture, our own Ministry of Defense, where in just 1 year we have executed 7 medium-sized projects in form of brigade headquarters. And now we are also undertaking another project under the Uganda Free Zones Authority at the Entebbe Airport, the construction of the first public free zone at Entebbe Airport, which we hope to complete soon. Your Excellency, sir, we are now set to undertake construction of industrial and business parks, and as you directed, sir, we have already commenced discussions with the Ministry of Finance and the Uganda Investment Authority. In all of those projects, Your Excellency, apart from using the capacity which we have built over time, we bring on board efficiency, speed in execution, we bring on board military discipline, in addition to executing the projects at a lower cost. I believe the Kira leadership will brief you about the huge saving that has been made specifically in this project as a result of using the UPDF. Your Excellency, the other day we hosted the Honorable Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation here, and I told her that it's now proven that through such arrangements, where government ministries, departments, and agencies engage services of another government body like NEC and the UPDF directly, other things being constant, government projects are executed in time and at a lower cost, and, as you have seen with Kira plant, without compromising the quality standards. Sir, this is because we take orders seriously. We don't entertain any kickbacks whatsoever. We don't incur additional expenses like the cost of money in form of interest on the bank loans, and our primary motive is really not big profits. Once all the resources are made available, the projects usually take a shorter time because, again, there is no red tape. We don't have any bureaucracy, which has in most cases been responsible for delays of many projects. We therefore salute Your Excellency for that strategic decision and the huge opportunity that has been given to us that will no doubt go a long way in supporting your vision of self-reliance and help the country to disentangle from the dependency syndrome. As a result, I believe, no, as a country, I believe we don't have to look for external solutions all the time because we have the capacity, the ability, the willingness to do some of these works ourselves. Indeed, as NEC, it is our wish and desire, with your support, to develop one of our subsidiaries, the NEC Construction Works and Engineering Company, which is undertaking this project, into a fully-fledged national construction company with capacity to undertake major infrastructure projects in this country in future. Your Excellency, before I conclude, I want to thank the leadership of Kiramoto's Corporation for the commitment to the development of the automotive industry in Uganda. So what I have observed over time is that really it's not the resources put at your disposal, and it's not a question of having very good designs and artistic impressions, but a clear vision and mission of what the leadership of that organization wants to achieve and what it believes is good for the country. I think the Kira Motor Vehicle leadership, Professor Tikodri, Mr. Paul Musasizi, and the young engineers is a very, very good team, patriotic, focused, forward-looking, and have made my work easy in execution of this project. During this period, Your Excellency, I've had opportunity to interact with these young people, the young engineers at Kira. They are incredible, intelligent, well-educated, focused, exposed, and with Your Excellency's support, I'm convinced, together with other young engineers, they will take this country to another level. When Your Excellency talks about good remuneration for scientists, I think everybody should really give you maximum support. Again, before I conclude, as you have been briefed, before the operationalization of this factory, Kiramoto's requested to utilize our facilities at Rural Industries, and working with our technical personnel, they have managed to assemble some electric buses and the diesel bus, which you have seen. All of those were assembled at our facilities in Nakasongora. Even as I speak now, we are currently assembling another batch of 2 electrical and 1 diesel bus at Rural Industries. I thank the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation and that of Finance for all the support extended to us, which has enabled us to reach this far. Finally, I think I would be remiss if I concluded my remarks without introducing to Your Excellency, for recognition, the team of the UPDF and NEC engineers who have been responsible for this project. And if they were near, they could even step forward for this project so far. Could read out some of their names. Have the engineer Brian Buhanda, the general manager Networks, Lieutenant Colonel Wilbrod Mwezi, the project administrator, Major Engineer Geoffrey Kaima, who is the project engineer, and many other army officers, Major Paul Chofa, Lieutenant Victor Natamia, Lieutenant Emmanuel Tegure, Lieutenant Alfred Nwamanya, Lieutenant Eli Bantu, Lieutenant Bernard Beja. These are young engineers, young lieutenants in the forces, and all the 11 machine operators. Once again, I thank Your Excellency for the continued guidance and support. We pledge to do our best. Aluta continua.
Thank you very much. The next two speakers, Your Excellency, we are giving them a maximum of 5 minutes each. And the next one is the chairman, Tonde Car Metro Company Limited.
Your Excellency, the President of Uganda, Honorable Ministers present, Members of Parliament present, and all distinguished guests. Your Excellency, I'm here to do just two things within the time I've been given. One, to salute you for unveiling the tripartite landmark achievement which is coming out of your vision. You are a passionate dreamer, but you are also a very indefatigable believer in action and reality. And that's what we are celebrating now. Mr. President, we are celebrating the triumph of coordinated private and public partnership. I'm here representing the principal off-taker of Kira products. We are going to support take all the buses that are being made because for us we are operators. Kira is a manufacturer. Number two, the compelling business case for indigenous manufacturing, domestic industrialization. Number three is the triumph of a borderless economy. Because whatever is being produced here in Kenya, we are going to make sure we sell across Africa. Mr. President, you have shared with your fellow leaders, you continue to, that we need to climb out of the parochialism of self-protection and spread out across Africa. Mr. President, I'm here to report on what you told us 2.5 years when you met, when you are talking about private sector participation in this business. The 4 things you told us we have achieved. Number 1, you said that we must collaborate and work closely with the Kiramotos. We have been able to do that as private sector. Number 2, you told us no borrowing from the National Treasury. We have been able to achieve that. Number 3, you told us the taxi operators and owners must be part and parcel of this whole process of operationalizing what Kiramoto produces. We have been able to achieve that, and very soon I will be introducing the taxi operators and taxi owners whom we are working with. Number 4, you said, Mr. President, that you want the operationalization of public transport to be done and to be owned also by the people of Uganda. Kiramoto holds 55% of the shares in the operationalization of this under an SPV. 55% is being held in trust for the people of Uganda. 4 years from now, 5 years from now, this will be going for the stock market for the people of Uganda. Mr. President, I'm here with a team of private sector operators who are going to make sure that the buses produced here and the vehicles produced here are used on our roads and beyond our roads in the rest of the continent. I would like to introduce them, but I would like them to stand up and wave. The very first one, our key partner and making this possible, Mr. President, is Rentco Africa, represented all the way from Nairobi by Robert. Robert, I think, is here from Rentco. And then the technology partner, Mr. President, is Golden Dragon from China. Number 3 is, Mr. President, we are not going to handle cash. It's going to be cashless ticketing system. And our partner in technology here is Sentinel. I think Sentinel is around here, and Sentinel is working, Mr. President, with some of your largest taxpayers, MTN, Airtel, and also the suppliers of cards like Visa card and MasterCard. So MTN and Airtel are right here, represented by a couple of friends who are there. The other finance partners we have, Your Excellency, is UBA, United Bank of Africa, present here, Absa Bank, DFCU, represented by the MD himself, Matthias Katamba, Stanbic Bank, I think Annie was supposed to be here, and Mercantile Banks. Your Excellency, fuel is going to be important, Your Excellency. First of all, Your Excellency, a guy called Mugisha who stays in Gayaza, a guy called Musitwa who stays in Chengera, he will move from Chengera on a ticket of 80,000 for the whole month. I do recall, Your Excellency, when we met you, you literally knew all the routes and the feeder routes around within the 30 kilometers of Kampala. 80,000 shillings will enable Musitwa or Mugisha to move around within the radius of 30 kilometers for the whole month. 80,000 and 40,000 for a week. We see that this in itself constitutes an economic stimulus post-pandemic. Your Excellency, we need fuel. We have got the electric buses which we are going to operate, but we are also operating the diesel-driven engines. And I have among them, led by Mogas Geoffrey Lugazora is right here. And then we have got also our colleagues from Total and Vivo. Vivo, I think they're right here, big partners in fuel. Then the insurance is led by Clarkson Insurance Brokers. We have got Charles Muwezi, I think is right here. Yeah, and we are also doing construction. We intend, and I've been discussing with the General, that we will be looking more into construction, especially we have got bus stops. We are moving into terminals for the buses. Your Excellency, we've got 7 terminals. You mentioned yourself, we have a terminal in Entebbe, we have a terminal in Maya, we have a terminal in Gayaza, we have a terminal in Mkono, in Matuga, and Kakiri. And now these terminals are going to have a daily turnover of approximately 200 buses. And later this month, we are absorbing all these Mayambaras you see here, taxi operators, taxi owners, training them to international bus driving standard. We want the people of Uganda under serious protection with the very serious people. Your Excellency, we are supported in our management by the largest urban transport management company in Africa, which is called RHT, based in Mauritius. They are going to constitute part of what we call knowledge transfer and skill transfer. Your Excellency, I am done. I am representing private sector people who are coming together to make sure that your dream here in Kiramotos becomes reality. But before I step down, Your Excellency, I would like Mayambala, who is in charge of the taxi operators and owners, to say 1 or 2 words, because you said they are supposed to be very key in this work. Your Excellency, thanks.
Sebo wekitiibwa President, n'abakulu abalala bonna abaliwo wano, nze mutabani wo Mayambala Mustafa okuva mu taxi industry. Twatambudde ne chairman w'aba taxi owners mukulu Gadi Mugisha b'omanyi obulungi. Sebo President mu 2015 nga tuzze mu meeting gye watuyita mu State House Entebbe, watugamba nti tweteekereteekere enkyukakyuka ey'enkulaakulana mu by'entambula y'abasaabaze. Sebo ekigambo kyo tetwakirekaawo, twatambula nakyo ne tujja ne twongera okumobilizinga bannaffe ba driver, ba conductor, bannannyini taxi okulaba nga tweteekerateekera enkyukakyuka eyo. Eky'omukisa omulungi ti abatondeka Metro Bus Company bwe bajja era nabo tebakola kintu kirala kyonna nga tebasoose kutuula naffe ng'abatakisi. Sebo mukama wange njagala okukakasa nti vision gy'oyina naffe yatuyingiramu, era tukakasa tinga wooli ne baminisita baffe, minisita wa Kampala twamulabyeko wano, nga weebali nabo tusuubira nti tewaliiwo kijja kulemesa nteekateeka eno y'enkulaakulana okugenda mu maaso. Tuli lwedde okulaba nti ffeffe nnyini nga bwe wagamba nti abali mu mulimu gwa takisi abawaniridde omulimu gw'ebyentambula y'abasaabaze ebbanga eddene tulina okubeera nga twenyigira era tuyingire mu nkyukakyuka eyo, era tuli beeteefuteefu okulaba nti tutambulira wamu n'enkulaakulana mu Kampala n'eggwanga lyaffe lyonna. Weebale nnyo ssebo pulezidenti okutwagala ng'abatakisi ate n'okutwagaliza. Weebale nnyo, weebalire ddala.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, we've got the next speaker who is going to make a small presentation, and this is none other than the Chief Executive Officer of Kiramoto's, Engineer Paul Isaac Musasizi. He normally calls himself the Chief Worker at KMC.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable Ministers here present, especially my fresh Minister, Honorable Dr. Monica Musenero, who managed to organize with your office to be here, Members of Parliament, executives in government agencies and the private sector, all protocol observed. Your Excellency, we have scientifically characterized 5 building blocks for building the indigenous motor vehicle industry, which we have termed as the pillars of the indigenous motor vehicle industry. The people who will use the vehicles and who will work across the value chain, the products which have to be very well thought to be relevant to the need, the factories which will make the vehicles and the parts, the infrastructure that some of the previous speakers have talked about, the bus stops, the charging stations, the terminals, the roads which you're working on, and very importantly, the policy, which puts all of this together to ensure that we develop the market sustainably. Allow me, Your Excellency, to share some very quick facts about the automotive industry or the motor vehicle industry, which guide our thinking and direct our effort towards the assignment you gave us when you visited us in 2011 and said, you've been now teaching and doing some academic exercises, but let us move to establish an indigenous motor vehicle industry. First, Your Excellency, globally, the automotive industry is one of the oldest industries, and it has a turnover annually of over $3 trillion. Contributing up to 3.65% of the global GDP. 2017, the production was in excess of 86 million units. And here, Your Excellency, with your vision, having a Pan-Africa perspective, I want to observe one thing. China has a population of about 1.6 billion people. And as of 2017, they were producing 24 million vehicles of the 86 million vehicles produced that year. Africa had a population of about 1.3 billion people, producing a modest 1.2 million vehicles annually in 2017, mainly in South Africa, Morocco, Algeria, and Nigeria. Your Excellency, the Africa Development Bank projected that the African market will move from 1.2 million vehicles in demand annually in 2017 to 10 million vehicles demanded annually by 2030. It is against this background, if my colleague will turn the leaf to the next slide, that the assignment you've given to us, Your Excellency, working together in a multi-sectoral approach, we envision a robust, competitive, and sustainable indigenous motor vehicle industry producing 500,000 vehicles, that is 500,000 vehicles annually by 2030 here in Uganda. Our intention, Your Excellency, is to ensure with resolve that many of the parts of buses, trucks, pickups, SUVs, Your Excellency, SUVs are the cars that your ministers drive, also similar to this one that you came driving, tractors, amongst others, that these parts are made here locally by our scientists. And our fresh minister has already mobilized the scientists, especially engineers, in the universities and created a think tank where they have come together to think about how we can work into these value chains. The small and medium enterprises, and we don't want to leave behind the artisans in Katwe, Kakira, and other places. On that slide, Your Excellency, if you could go back, you see some of these parts are not rocket science. I had actually carried a few, but the rain confused us a bit. I had wanted to show you some which have been made here. But when you see the doors of these buses, that is aluminum. Those doors can be fabricated here very easily, and the glass can be made out of sand, also locally here. We have very high quality sand. The seats, you have the plastic, which can be made here. We have the wiring harnesses, Uganda Cable Corporation, we have already engaged them. They are charged and ready. The washers, nuts, batteries, Murana is already making. We can go into filters. These are parts that can actually be made with not too much investment by our scientists, small, medium enterprises, and artisans when they are brought together, rallying behind a vision with the private sector providing the offtake. Your Excellency, the automotive industry globally is known as an industry of industries. Why? Because when we establish a factory like this, it will potentially result into 300 factories manufacturing vehicle parts locally and employing over 100,000 people. Your Excellency, we intend to skill and perfect the skills of our artisans in Katwe and elsewhere to manufacture motor vehicle parts, also for export, because some of these parts, we may not consume all of them. We need to send to our colleagues in the Congo, South Sudan, Kenya, and the rest of the world, just like we are doing with the pharmaceuticals from Quality Chemicals. Transforming them from subsistence into manufacturing, ICT, service sectors, and therefore to the money economy. Your Excellency, allow me to highlight that the motor vehicle value chain, as we see today and as we work, has 3 core tech tiers. One is the tier where we develop, where we do research and development, and we have Makerere University here. The Vice Chancellor could wave again for recognition, my professor, Barnabas Nawangwe. But we have the principal of the College of Engineering, Design and Art, Engineer Dr. Professor Henry Alinaitwe, here as well. And we intend to continue working with them and other higher education institutions to ensure that research and development leads the way in innovating and optimizing the value within the local economy. But we will also go a long way in defining what is needed in terms of requirements, a technical specification, and establishing capacities for testing automotives and related products here. Because it has been proven internationally that where the international players test, they invest. If we can allow Land Rover to come and work with us on testing some of their components, the chances are very high that they will also invest in our value chain. Under make, of course, the manufacturing of components, the assembly of the whole vehicles, and under sales, establishing marketing, sales distribution, and the sales engineering, which is the after-sales service. This is the way we see the entire value chain coming together and providing a cocktail of opportunities. Because when you see, Your Excellency, a typical vehicle has 30,000 parts. A motoka eya bulijjo erina obutundutundu emitwalo esatu. Obutundutundu buno tuyinza obwawulamu mu mitendera 7. Obutundutundu obwo bukozesa okuvuga emotoka, what we call power train and propulsion, nga engine ne gearbox. Obutundutundu bwe tuyita chassis, suspension, steering, brake systems. Obutundutundu obukozesebwa mu heating, ventilation and air conditioning, nga engine fan ne radiator. Interior and safety components like the airbags, the seats, body components like the doors, the glass, exterior components like the lights and wipers, and also ebyamasanyalaze ng'obumba bukalimagezi bwe tuyita vehicle control units n'ebigenderako. Kakati abakenkufu bakyetegereza ne bazuula nti supply chain okola obutundutundu buno, it constitutes 85% of the opportunity in the value chain, and it provides 4.5 times the jobs that are typically provided in the plant. It means that if Kira is going to employ 1,000 workers, the suppliers of Kira, when we establish them here, will be employing 4,500 workers. Your Excellency, era twayongera ne tukizuula nti w'okakatiriza emirimu gino egy'okukola amamotoka, ate oyongera okwanjuluza emikisa mu industries endala. Kakati nga mu kuweesa, we can fabricate the frame of a bus, but we can also use the same principles to fabricate the steel, structural steel for the building as you see there. The frame of the bus, the structural steel, the windows, the doors. If you move over to the area of plastic molding, plastic seasonal byproducts are oil warfare. In the automotive industry, through plastic injection molding, you can make radiator fans, door latches, self-locking clips, but the same concepts and principles can be extended within the same factories to make connectors for plumbing, to make cuts and baskets for shopping, to make plastic gears which are used in clocks, and so many other applications. Mu by'okutunga nga tukozesa ebyalaani, Your Excellency, bwe tuba tukola emitto gy'olabyeko mu motoka ezo, emitto egyo tugitunza ngalo n'ekyalaani. Weewaawo oyinza okukozesa ekyalaani eky'amasannyalaze naye ng'era kiba kyalaani. So when you're doing the threading and the stitching, the same concept used to stitch the cushions, whether leather or textile, can be used for stitching shoes, can be used for making handbags, ezabakyala, for making belts for the gentlemen, for making purses, for making the clothes that we wear. And allow me, Your Excellency, to observe here that when you knew you were coming, we knew that when you come to Jinja, the former industrial glory, you shouldn't move away with nothing made from Jinja. So we quickly consulted our brothers across of Nightil, and we made 2 shirts for you with the badge of Kiramoto's Corporation. We look forward to seeing you donning them. Kakati ate by'abakenkufu Industry 4+ technologies or fourth industrial revolution, 3D printing tuyinza omukozesa okukola obutundutundu bungi mu motoka, robotics, Internet of Things okubanga emotoka zino ziri connected ku satellite, netulaba jelly for tracking. It can be connected to your house at home, so that maybe if you forgot your key, you can open it from there, you can operate it using your mobile phone. Our buses has a CCTV camera, which the security can also use for surveillance, amongst others, including artificial intelligence. These same concepts find their applications in security, in manufacturing of toys, in industrial automation, amongst other things, which implies, Your Excellency, that when we build a sustainable automotive industry, we are actually building the heart, or what other Bakenkufu call the Habinga of African industrialization. And here, you're leading from the front. Your Excellency, allow me to just remind you, because you know, that Uganda is endowed with abundant mineral and other natural resources, which are critical for the manufacture of motor vehicle parts. I can't overemphasize the issue of iron ore, from which we can get automotive steel. And as I highlighted earlier, this bus has over 5.4 tons of automotive steel. How beautiful will it be when we are not importing this steel, but we are developing the iron and steel value chain? We have very high quality silica sand, which is the element that makes glass. When you turn behind and look at that bus parked behind Your Excellency, you see that more than a third of the body panels are made out of glass. That glass can be made out of our sand here. We have rare earth elements which can be used for glass glazing, catalytic converters, batteries, and electronics. We have graphite in Uganda, which can be used for brake pads. We have oil from which we can get plastics to make a wide range of components. We have cobalt and lithium for electric vehicle batteries. We have kaolin, marble, and vermiculite, which are key elements in making paints for the automotive and also for the construction industry. We have tungsten, columbite. Some of these are elements which are very stable at very high temperatures. These can be used for metal alloys, which can be used in high-speed elements like the gears, the drive axles, amongst others. And of course, remember our Chirembe mines, where we used to get copper, which can be used for the conductors, electrical conductors, as well as motors. Scientifically, Your Excellency, we have been working with the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor to understand how value within the automotive industry value chain is apportioned to different categories of parts. And in that slide, you see that there are 7 core tiers of the entire value chain: raw material processing, component design and development, testing and validation, component manufacturing, module assembly, subsystem assembly, and then the final system integration and vehicle assembly. And the parts could be categorized as 3 in terms of value. The raw material intensive parts like the frame of a bus, the value added intensive parts like the electronics. I show you there a printed circuit board, which is the heart of a chip, which is the heart of a vehicle control unit, and an instrument cluster. And I want to let you know, Your Excellency, that our buses run off the Android operating system. So our ICT people can start tinkering and playing with applications that enable those buses to do more. And then the electric vehicle battery. And when you watch that value chain carefully, you see that if, for example, we established the value chain of iron and steel, we have the opportunity to achieve over 30% of the value. And the rest of the numbers are shown for your information. But I also want to indicate, Your Excellency, that the electric vehicle battery is very interesting, because if we just process our cobalt, 15% of the value. If we did component design and development, 20% of the value. If we did the module assembly, the cell, 20% of the value, and so on and so forth. Allow me to note, Your Excellence, earlier you asked me the cost, the price of an electric bus. And allow me to note that 50% of the price of an electric vehicle is actually in the battery. We have cobalt here in Uganda, and most of the cobalt is with our brothers in the DRC. We need to decisively move, and we are working, also consulting with Uganda Development Bank and Makerere University, to see that we develop the capacity to manufacture electric vehicle batteries locally. Our intention, Your Excellence, is to ensure that as far as buses, lorries, and pickup trucks are concerned, in 8 years from now, we are making 65% of the parts locally. That is about 19,500 parts made here. Now, you would ask, how does that compare with elsewhere? In the US, the models which have the highest value made locally have up to 76%. That is mainly from General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, the indigenous one. In India, which is a country that has very, very similar characteristics with us in certain aspects, 70% of the Tatas is made locally. German, which is one of the industrial giants in the world, the leading brands like Mercedes, BMW, and VW achieve 70% of the parts made locally. South Africa has mainly been focusing on assembly for a very long time, and they are making up to 38.7% locally. Morocco, 60%, and we hope that, we plan to achieve 65%, and this will be achieved through developing the necessary skills here, through utilizing our materials, through putting in place the right policies, and placing emphasis on off-takers like Tondeka and, of course, others, and ensuring that we have the right financing mechanisms at UDB and with other players like Rentico, so that the product can be financed in the marketplace. Allow me to indicate once again, Your Excellency, that off-takers are very important. Firstly, government is the leading consumer of new vehicles, the SUVs and the pickups. And we are asking, Your Excellency, that let us have an off-take agreement with the government for at least 300 vehicles a year, SUVs and pickups, especially considering that the government in a very good year buys 1,200 pickups. So if we took just 25% of that in an off-take agreement, we are going to have the off-take demand to enable the plant to take off. The off-taker, we have already signed an agreement with Victoria Motors Limited, and I don't know whether the general manager is here, Mr. Oti, so that he can wait for recognition. And these are the authorized representative of Mitsubishi Motor Corporation. We intend to work with them for contract manufacturing of their pickups here and also their electric hybrid SUVs, with some of the parts progressively sourced locally. I will not talk a lot about our other off-taker, Tondeka, who is very important as well, because as this plant gets into production in December, end of December, we already have someone who has mobilized the necessary financing instruments without liability to government to initially take 1,030 buses made here. In the medium term, they plan to take 3,000 buses. In the medium term, we are talking about 2 to 5 years. They will take up to 5,000 buses, so that they move their daily passenger capacity from 1.5 million in a business as usual situation, and half of that during the pandemic, up to 3 million passengers transported daily. Your Excellency, this is a very important opportunity for us to take off. But we also recognize that in the medium term, Kampala alone needs 7,000 buses with a replacement cycle of 8 years. That means that if in the medium term we have supplied 3,000, that is only 45% of the market. There is enough room for the competition that you're encouraging, so that other players like my very good Elder Metu and others who are coming up can also have space to do business. And through that competition, we hope that the client will benefit and the industry will grow very fast. Your Excellency, allow me to highlight 6 very important timelines we see in the foreseeable future. Working with the General Museveni in Ruwero, I don't know whether he made it, General Museveni. Right now we are building 3 buses. They will be ready at the end of next month. This exercise is going on. I have 25 of my staff there right now working, and General Museveni's team is also bringing in resources, and we are using those facilities to train and ensure that when the production line is here, we already have the critical supervisors who will proficiently run this line. We also are working with the Tondeka to build 5 training buses which should be deployed on the road in October. This will be used also to consolidate the skills in the manufacturing end, but also to train the operators, because driving a bus, Mr. Mayambala and his team need some upskilling and perfection in order for them to drive the bus with honor and with pride. Your Excellency, with your support and with the fire brand we have in our fresh minister, Honorable Dr. Monica Musenero, the plant will be ready by the end of December 2021. And we hope to invite you to commission it at the beginning of January to start producing buses here. Honorable, or rather Your Excellency, we are working to deploy 1,020 buses made here by June 2022 with the capacity that we'll have established. And working together with Tondeka as shareholders in the special purpose vehicle, also pulling in the private sector you've had mentioned here, we are looking into drawing in the resources of your people in Kasita, the Twagalane, and so on. They have a lot of money and they have been building malls. Now we are saying let that money be brought and we build bus terminals, we build bus stops, we establish road furniture, amongst others, and they have agreed to do this and have it in place by December 2021. And we hope to have the official launch of the Kampala bus system on our side with 300 buses initially by the end of the month of February 2020. As I wind up, Your Excellency, allow me to note a few things. One, the work that we are doing is projected to create 100,000 jobs directly and indirectly. But already, with General Mujira's team here and the consultants, allow me to request the consultants from Technology Consults who have been, they designed and they are supervising this work to stand up. The CEO is here, Dr. Kariko Vuhwezi, I hope he also made it. And we have this young lady, can she come a little bit closer? One of the engineer who is the clerk of works is actually from Mutai. She's called Nakanda. Nakanda ends with the D-H-A. So she's from Mutai here, a registered engineer, and she's the clerk of works. So we are also employing people from here. And through this work, over 500 jobs have been created. Carpenters, usually when we find carpentry work going on here, we have over 50 carpenters alone to do the carpentry. Steel benders for the reinforcement steel. Fabricators, all the windows are fabricated here. We just buy material from roofings and we make the windows here. The concrete blocks and the pavers, all of that, you see, they are made here. So all of those people have already gotten jobs. We found some of those people here growing tomatoes, which is not a very bad idea. But now they are working in the building of this factory and their income has tremendously improved. Your Excellency, the construction of this factory has already plowed back 28 billion within just a period of 30 months, 28 billion in procuring or in sourcing materials for construction locally. Sand, reinforcement steel, structural steel, these very complicated steel members here, aggregates like the ones which have been placed there, maram for the roads, eucalyptus poles, hardcore fill, and so on. In the transport operations, we estimate that URA, the Commissioner General of URA is here, Your Excellency. He could stand up for recognition. And we've been working very closely with him to ensure that we seamlessly integrate in the business. It is estimated that in the 5 years of operation, the government, the central government, will collect 200 billion, and the local government will collect 61 billion. That is the Wachisos, the Mokonos, and the like. Engaging small and medium enterprises in the manufacture of vehicle components and parts is very important, and we are working with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Honorable Bahati is here, specifically to pursue this agenda. You already saw him, but it doesn't hurt for him to show that he's still here. And this is something we are very passionate about. We want the small manufacturers to come out of where they are, and we work together to make as many parts, the 30,000 parts here. When we set up comprehensive maintenance, repair, and service centers for buses and trucks, we will improve the quality of service, reduce vehicle downtime, and lead to increased revenue for the fleet. And finally, Your Excellency, we are looking at the electric bus and electric vehicles with a lot of interest. And the Honorable Minister has already also engaged a group of young people who are working on the electric motorcycles, border work, and others, so that we synergize, because there are so many things we can collaborate. We can compete in the marketplace, but we can have a unified voice to engage you and the other stakeholders. But specifically, we believe that with Kampala being known as the most polluted city in Africa, or rather the second most polluted city in Africa, and the top 15 in the world, as we move towards electric vehicles made here, we will go a long way in improving sustainable energy consumption, air quality, and demonstrate Uganda's commitment to enhanced environmental stewardship. Your Excellency, allow me to thank you in a special way for sharing this opportunity with us today, where you've demonstrated to the rest of the world, not just Uganda and Africa, that you mean business when you talk industrialization, that you mean business when you say vehicles should be electric, that you mean business when you say that we should shift to environmentally friendly motor vehicles, that you mean business when you say that the private sector and the public sector should work as one to transform our economy into an upper middle income economy by 2040. I thank you very much.
Your Excellency, may you be pleased to permit Honorable Dr. Museveni, the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, to come and speak. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, colleagues, the Cabinet Ministers, honorable members of Parliament present, heads of various government agencies and private sector, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, let me begin by thanking you once more for appointing me as Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation. As you have heard, I'm enjoying myself doing this job. Your Excellency, on behalf of the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you today at the Jinja Industrial and Business Park on this occasion of laying the foundation stone for the Kira vehicle plant. Ideally, you should have come here in 2019 when work began, but due to unavoidable circumstances, this happens to be your first visit to this iconic site in the history of economic transformation of Uganda, to visit Kiramoto's, which has now metamorphosed from a research project within a university by students into a full-blown indigenous motor vehicle manufacturer. Your Excellency, this achievement illustrates my understanding of your vision of socio-economic transformation and community growth through knowledge-based industry. Kiramoto's is a project pioneering the philosophy many nations have followed to transform their economies. This is the philosophy of industrialization and large-scale production. The story of Kiramoto's most clearly demonstrates your dream to use science for national transformation using this knowledge economy. Your Excellency, as I have studied Uganda's strategic documents, especially Vision 2040, NDP 3, the NRM Manifesto, and that profound booklet, The Real versus Vulnerable Economy, that you produced, I realize the momentous contribution science, technology, and innovation must make if we are to achieve that vision. Successful industrialization is hinged on development of the key industrial sectors, including automotive industry, through import substitution and promotion of local manufacturing and mineral-based industries. The value of a development like this permeates society, Your Excellency, as you have heard, beyond just this facility, and it promotes the entire value chain, starting with research, which helps to develop the skills and the thinking ability of our learners in institutions of higher learning, contributing greatly to the development of their confidence. Your Excellency, you've seen the young people here, because they are participating in something real, they show a confidence because they know that they can contribute, they can make contribute something tangible. This kind of thing grows the skills in the population, attracting more industries into the country, and transforms the thinking of consumers of development. Overall, it improves our national competitiveness on the Human Development Index, building our pride as a nation and enhancing patriotism it also contributes other jobs. Your Excellency, I must appreciate your personal commitment in ensuring that Kiramoto's receives all the support, including the funding and the encouragement. And we want to thank the Minister of Finance for providing funds and the contribution of your very dynamic Minister in charge of investment, Honorable Anite, making sure that we have the land. Your Excellency, at this point in time, Kiramoto's is like Peruth Temtai running the 3,000-meter steeplechase. We are at that end where we must put in place that finishing power so that we can win the gold. Our funding requirement for this financial year, which would see us begin the road of self-sufficiency, was submitted to finance as 218.2 billion. Finance graciously allocated as 77 billion, leaving a funding gap of 141 billion. We really appreciate the budgetary constraints brought about by the unprecedented difficulties arising from COVID-19. The injection of this remaining money this financial year will enable us to hit our target of completing the assembly lines at this facility by December 31st and officially inaugurating our vehicle manufacturing early next year in February. Your Excellency, in that Nkolera Kida language, we have a saying which says, "Oh, gingo mleme, umtwalira nakimu." It means that if you are carrying a person who needs, take them up to home. Therefore, Your Excellency, we are requesting that even amidst these tough times, we avail that balance so that we will win off Kiramotos. Thereafter, Kiramotos will require about 12 billion per year just to support them for the next 3 years. After that, they will start bringing in money for government. Your Excellency, ever since you entrusted me to lead this docket of science, technology, and innovation, I have regularly interacted with Kiramoto's Corporation. I want to commend Professor Sunday Tekodri and Engineer Paul Musasizi for the wonderful team they have built here. Your Excellency, if we had workers like this, we would transform Uganda even under these next 5 years into a totally complete country. This is a team which can deliver if we give them the support they need. They exemplify the kind of workforce that will drive national transformation. Over the few months I have interacted with them, I have learned that the motor vehicle market is actually large and available. And it is growing. The growing demand for vehicles, however, remains untapped in Africa and also especially in Uganda. The global average motorization rate is 174 vehicles per 1,000 individuals. The African average is 44 cars per person, per 1,000 persons. However, Uganda, we have 14 cars per 1,000 persons. And in the absence of a well-structured public transport system, the reason why we have congestion is because 65% of those cars are private cars carrying 1 to 3 persons. So the roads are full and they carry only 9% of the daily commuters, resulting into heavy traffic and road congestion, especially in the city. And Your Excellency, this will quickly emerge in the new and upcoming cities that you recently launched, unless there is pre-planning and establishment of organized public transport. Your Excellency and colleagues, as we celebrate this achievement, I want us to note it has taken us close to 15 years to move from the green car when there was a student project to this place. Although this is a big achievement, I believe we can move faster if things are better streamlined, because 15 years is a relatively long time. But now that Kiramoto has laid the pathway with organization, with the streamlining, especially of the scientific community, we can harness a lot. And Your Excellency, as you have heard, I have already embarked on organizing the engineering scientists into think tanks that can fast track the translation of many, many prototypes that they have, and especially aligning it with the priorities of the country under industrialization. And Kiramoto can act as an umbrella organization that it's like a tree. It was like a mustard seed thrown in the ground, it grew, and it's now bearing fruit, and many birds can come and now rest on it. Your Excellency, I wish to note that science, technology, and innovation is cross-cutting. It's a very cross-cutting service which is required by all sectors, but it must be well coordinated for its impact to be felt. The ongoing restructuring of science, technology, and innovation in the country is aimed at harmonization and coordination of research, technology, and innovation requirements across government, and especially aligning it to government priorities so that we are not just scattered and disconnected, but we are optimize our resources and align them to the national agenda. As we can see, Kiramoto requires research and development to harness minerals, and minerals are lying in a different sector. Textiles, they lie in a different sector. Electronics, they are lying in a different ministry. Digital economy, energy, environment, infrastructure. Without effective coordination and cooperation, it becomes extremely difficult for us to realize the results of investment in science, technology, and innovation. That is why His Excellency has transformed the former Minister of Science, Technology, and Innovation into a secretariat to provide effective coordination, networking, prioritization, regulation, and support to science, technology, and innovation across the board. We believe this will give science, technology, and innovation the necessary momentum to begin impacting on the various industries the way we see Kiramoto is doing. Your Excellency, I'm optimistic that with the right policy interventions and the application of science, technology, and innovation, we will use these our resources that we have, the minerals, the oil, in supporting the building of a robust, competitive, sustainable automotive industry. Kiramoto is developing long-term technology partnerships to build core capacities, to develop, make, and sell motor vehicles. Your Excellency, as we enter the spectrum of technology, at the beginning it's important that we learn from those who have the skill, but we must be deliberate to make sure that the knowledge, the skill, and the competencies are being deliberately transferred to our people, so that there is no disconnection between the people and the industrial development. That ensures the participation of the population in the industrialization of the country. Your Excellency, I would also like to take this opportunity to salute the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the National Enterprise Corporation, Technology Consult for playing a key role in the execution of your visionary leadership in the development of this entity. Your Excellency, when I first came here, I was amazed. I was looking for the usual type of contractors we have, and this Technology Consult is from Makerere University. So this is a Ugandan thing. Uganda definitely has capacity to do a lot of this. We just need to develop the systems to support our people, be available to guide, coordinate, and support them, and we will drive the country forward. Your Excellency, Professor Tekodri has enumerated the 10 key interventions required for building the indigenous motor vehicle industry. With your guidance and leadership, I'm ready as the chief servant to work with the colleagues and relevant stakeholders toward the realization of the required 10 key interventions. Your Excellency, when I visited here, I told them that the word minister means servant. That's actually the definition of a minister. So I offered myself to be at their service to make sure that we achieve our goals. That's why Professor Tekodri referred to that. Your Excellency, I convey our sincere appreciation for accepting our invitation to grace this occasion and lay the foundation stone at Kira Vehicle plant site. It's now my pleasure to invite the Minister of Finance to come and invite His Excellency to address the congregation. Your Excellency, we are securing our future for God and my country.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, my colleagues, honorable ministers, members of parliament who happen to be here, heads of various government agencies, including the board and the management of Kiramoto Corporation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, just like many of the previous speakers have noted, it also gives me great pleasure to be here today at the Jinja Industrial Business Park to witness this occasion of laying the foundation stone for the Kira vehicle plant. This is testimony that scientific research and innovation is one of the verge of transforming Uganda's industrial base. Whereas the motor vehicle industry is both a capital-intensive and knowledge-intensive industry, when supported with the right policies, it plays an important role in the country's socio-economic development. Your Excellency, the key to rapid socio-economic transformation in Uganda rests on industrialization. And I remember, Your Excellency, when you first appointed me, I came and asked you, why have you put me in this role? You said industrialization. And we are pursuing that vision and that goal relentlessly. All this work we have seen here is being done by our Uganda companies employing Ugandans, as it has already been said, and the material for construction, estimated at over 28 billion Uganda shillings, are being sourced within Uganda. Therefore, the operationalization of the Kira vehicle plant is in line with our budget theme for this financial year, which is industrialization for inclusive growth, employment, and wealth creation. There is not a single large economy that does not have a vibrant motor vehicle industry within its territory. In the economy of development countries, growth in the motor vehicle industry by 1% causes a GDP growth of 1.5%. The indirect impact of the motor vehicle industry on GDP is strengthened through related industries provided by orders from the motor vehicle industry, as we heard one gentleman saying here. For example, the motor vehicle industry in the developed countries is Okay, now, Mr. President, I'm told that time is running out. Let me conclude my remarks. Mr. President, I visited this place about a year ago. It was mere bush. They were making some few roads. I am back here today, 12 miles down the road. I have found a beautiful and permanent structure. Talk about value for money, this one, Mr. President. And therefore, I will not wait you to instruct me, Mr. President. I'm going to adjust my budget somehow to make sure that I give them the 130 billion. 141 billion. We shall go and work with my colleagues and we look for that 141 billion so that their target, which they have elaborated here, by December or early January, is realized. Lastly, the land issue. I was informed by my colleague, Honorable Anite, that the land purchased here is 190 acres. They have been given 1
100 cars, as you have heard, Your Excellency. The 90 is also have been given by related industries to this project. We also were talking this morning, if they expand beyond this, we shall also look for other land elsewhere where they can go and expand in different branches. With this, Mr. President, it's now my great pleasure to invite you to address the nation. Thank you very much.
Honorable Ministers, the managers of Kira Motors, and all invited guests. I have a radio broadcast in the night, so I need to be in Kampala so that I don't go to the studio when I'm dozing. So that's why I had to ask for shortening the speeches. Now, this, you have Nyankole, have a word called Ovaji. Ovaji can be used to mean, actually it means squandering your resources. Okubaga is to slaughter a cow or something, but Ovaji specifically refers to people who squander their resources. Now, Africa is known for Ovaji. You find whole governments just squandering the resources of the country. I was checking the figures. The amount of money we spend on importing vehicles in Uganda each year. US dollars, $550 million is sent out to buy vehicles from outside. Obukadde oba dollar butaano mu ataano zesasanya okusaka emotoka okuva ebweru. That's why I told those Kampala people that you fellows, you are killing us. Bine emotoka byemuleta ebikadde bitulwaza asthma, ate akasente konna ketujje mumwanyi, because we earn 500 and something million from coffee. All goes back to bring this second-hand vehicle. Obusuubu baji banange, obubaji obulala bufaanana butya? So, squandering our money by importing other people's vehicles, but at the same time giving jobs to the Japanese. Kubanga emotoka zonna zemuvuga zakolebwa abaana baba Japan. Abaana baffe bakaaba mirimu, songa emirimu egiriwo tugigabira aba Japan. Ago magezi ki? So you are losing money, you are losing jobs. Naye ate n'okuzira oba mu Luganda bakiyita kuzira, to boycott something bakiyita kuzira. Is it there in Uganda? Okuzira, to boycott mwekiri. Oh, okay. So kati emisango eri mu kooti wano gyentaddeko oba bakasiita oba bandi abagula emmotoka ebikadde, emisango gye mbateddeko giri ebiri. Okusooka okubaaga okwonoona sente zaffe ez'emwanyi kuzizayo kugula ebimotoka bino ebikadde. Ogwokubiri okugaba emirimu gy'abaana baffe okugigabira Abajapani. Ogwokusatu akatale k'ensi yonna ak'emmotoka. Ono omwami Musaasizi atulimbyemu kubanga agambye nti akatale ak'emmotoka mu nsi yonna ziri trillion, oba wano trillion bakimanyi, trillion agambye nti ziri trillion 3. naye bwe mbuuziza bangambye nti ziri trillion 5 nezisobamu. Akatale k'emmotoka mu nsi yonna, kati akatale ako ffe twakazira, tewaliwo kyetutundayo. Ogwaffe kugula, tewali kyetutunda mu katale k'emmotoka. All that big market twagyesonyiwa. So these are the 3 big mistakes: squandering our money, giving our jobs away, and abstaining from that huge wealth of the world. No, emisango teginagwayo. Emisango kati ndikugwa prosecutor mpabira abantu bange wano abe Kampala benayita nti banange muve mu bino byemulimu tukole emmotoka zaffe. Omusango omulala okuseera abana Uganda, kubanga bw'ogula emmotoka ekoleddwa ebweru okusooka okugitambuza transport alone, omuna Uganda emwongerako ensaasanya kubanga ziva wala. Ekyokubiri, eri gye bakolera emmotoka zino bagagawala dda, emisaala gyabwe giri waggulu nnyo. Abakola emmotoka eri bayonooneka dda, beewereza emisaala egiyitiridde. Awo nno ne tuwalirizibwa wano okusasulira obwamaridaadi bw'Abajapani. So nga singa emmotoka tugikoledde wano, fe akasaala akaffe kakyali wansiko. N'olwekyo emmotoka ekoleddwa wano yensonga olaba emmere yawaffe. Nze ndi mulunzi, munsasula kiro y'ennyama ziri meka? 8 e Kampala ziri meka? About 10,000. 10,000 awuziba $2. Genda London ogule kiro y'ennyama eri ku $17. Ate nyama yange ey'ekisozi esinga eri eya Bungereza naye munseera ne mumpa $2 naye sifaayo siri bubi. So bw'ogula ebyabali oba oguluddemu bw'oyita obuseere okuseera bwe kiri mu Luganda. Kati obuseere bwabali kati tubuleeta wano ne tubuteeka ku bantu baffe. Our people are forced to buy expensive products because they have got to pay for the high cost of living of the Europeans. So omuchina yakozesa low cost of living in China to become big manufacturer. That's why you find the products of China are cheaper, because their salaries are still low compared to these ones. So for us, we are getting a disadvantage in everything. We don't use our raw materials. All those are mistakes. So therefore, when you see us, when you hear me appealing to people to please wake up and get out of all these mistakes so that we can help our people better. The second point is to salute UPDF for going into the construction. And as you heard, again, for roughly the same reasons or similar reasons, they are cheaper. They are cheaper, why? Because they are not looking for profits. These private companies, first of all, they are looking for 20% profit. Secondly, they go and borrow money from banks, 24%. So from the very beginning, within the cost, you have got something like almost 50%, which has nothing to do with the work, but to pay the interests of banks and the interests of private companies. That's why, therefore, I am determined that UPDF Construction Brigade, which later on we can turn into a construction company, will continue to do most of the government work. In Tariff, the government school I studied at in the 1960s had been built by the Ministry of Works. When that, because in Tariff and Teso College Aloyet and Sir Samuel Rebecca School in the north were the first government schools. All the other schools would do what they had been started by the churches. But the government school, secondary, where these were the first. In Tariff School, Teso College Aloyet, Samuel Rebecca, they were the first government schools. And they were built by the Ministry of Works. Up to now, the buildings where I studied are still there. So this is now another mistake which we are sorting out. So I thank the UPDF for responding to my call and stop subcontracting, because the other time they would say UPDF, then they subcontracted China. Atemwe. Omushucho kwara atempangisa. Mulikora ndi mulikwata ndi mutosi. Naye kati ndowooza kati bakwaterera mutosi. Who is the engineer here? Come here. On the microphone. Now you come also, the other one. What is your name?
Major Engineer Geoffrey Kaima, sir, Your Excellency.
Kaima?
Yes, sir.
So you now know that construction is not Chinese. Omanyitu kuzimba siku aba China boka.
Sir, I've known that before.
But you are not doing it. What was the problem?
Sir, I think we are concentrating internally.
No, even internally. Kachiri balimba nti bebazimba Kachiri naye we nagende omuchina yaliyo. Kata ozotya.
Apparently there were issues of financing internally.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Kati Bible egamba nti omuntu yana bwenenyeza aliwo nyememe ye obutayingira muki omuntu mbu kwahinduka yareke bibi yakozire yakore bishye nebishemerere aliakiza amagara yo kutaha mukufa. So I think now you have repented.
Yes, sir.
And there is a possibility that you may enter the kingdom of heaven. Kale mwebale kurikayo. So that is the second point. First point, okulekeraawo okwonona obugaga bwa Uganda. Tusaka ebiteetagisa kusaka. Ekyokubiri, okwebaza UPDF okuva mu bukafiiri bw'obutamanya nti basobola kweyimirizaawo ne bamanya nti tewali ekisobola kutulema. Number 3, njagala kuyozayoza abatondeka. Mwebale mukulukeyo abatondeka namwe. Abatondeka abo nabasirikira kubanga abanyankole bamwe bagamba oluko rw'okuzimu tagaya mushana boba over underground mutaka tosobola kugamba nti omusana guno buli kasana konna kofuna okaniriza oluko rw'okuzimu tagaya mushana. The one coming from underground cannot say this sunshine is not enough. Any sunshine is better than where he was underground. So when we came from the bush, we wanted just recovery, anything. Border with the sagala kosi ekigambo kibi olwo ekigambo ky'abanyankolo oba n'abaganda bakirina ekigambo olwo ekigambo kibyawo sagala kukikozesa omanyi olwo ekigambo ekigirawo naye sagala kukireeta wano. Those borders with those exhaust fumes, second-hand cars, anything that could do, we welcomed. Naye kati nga bwe muwulira emmotoka ezo zituwa obutwa, emmotoka ezenkadde zituweereza obutwa. Those gases, which I don't want to name, there's a word which I could use but I don't want to use it. Ndowooza mukitegeddeawo. Those fumes are poisonous. That's why you hear into the air quality. I normally watch TV. Uganda Kampala is number 4, sometimes number 5. Awali empewo ennungi bagamba nti number 1, awali eriwakirwakiriko number 2, abali obubi number 3. Uganda Kampala always number 4. Empewo gyetussa, the air we are breathing in Kampala is poison because of these cars, these second-hand cars and the borders. Ekyo kiri awo. Ate n'obawo okukozesa obusafuriya obutonotono okufumba emmere, n'ofumba akasafuriya n'ojjula, n'ofumba akasafuriya n'ojjula. Kati tukole tutya? Tusigale n'obusafuriya obwo oba tugule esafuriya ennene Munyankole gyeta rugoro esobole kufumbira amaka. The buses are a safuria enene because they can take many people at a go. So when this came up, I said no, but okukireeta nti esafuria enene tubona obusafuria bwe buleeta traffic jam eva akasafuria katwala muntu buli omu wetebereza amaka, buli mwana alina akasafuria ke okwefumbira. Natasha akasafuria, Patience akasafuria, kinini omumaka. Kulwaki tembera n'esafuria emu enene nemufumbira family yonna? Naye kati bino ebirowoozo byatandika okujja ngamba nti naye bino ebirowoozo ebipya mbyaniriza, naye saagala mwerabire abantu bange ab'obusafuria obutono. Mubakomyeko ate mubayite bave ku busafuria begate mu kino bafunemu omugabo mu kino ekipya. I told they were coming. There was an Indian called Hinduja. An Indian called Hinduja. He was in London. He wanted to bring his own vehicles from India and bring them here. But when you bring them, abantu bange ab'obusafuria bo banaalagawa mubakomyeko. Bakwita kukomyako. Is it in Uganda? Is that a Uganda word? Okubaka. To alert them. Umanye Uganda rwange rwa ruwero ruriyawo narwo. You alert them. Kampala nyamba munange kubatemyako okutemya. Okay, this is the one I was struggling with. But now I heard you talking of the taxis and so on. How about the borders? The border owners, the owners.
Your Excellency, we are also working on the issue of the borders, but like you advised, we still have the feeder routes. The feeder routes will still require transport. So the borders will still be registered and organized to provide transport in the feeder routes because we will be handling the main ones.
Okay. So there we need an integrated plan where maybe ombuguto obutonotono obuyingireeyo munda eyo kawempeeyo mu bifo byaffe, maybe using now electric pikipikis instead of these ones. That one can be studied, can also be studied, so that if nobody is left behind. So therefore, now that we are getting waliwo ekigambo wano mu Busoga tukita kulambara, ate waliwo n'ekigambo lambara, ekyalo lambara kiri eyo munda eyo, nti lambara mwebake. Nga bwe tuviire mu kulambara, since we are getting out of sleeping, what is the strategy? Number one, no more importing of wholly built vehicles. Ekyo kyaggwa era nze nalemerako babadde baagala okunkuba akazannyo nti African Development Bank etuwoze sente naye waliwo baasi eziva bweru. Nti oyo kali akantu akawunya bubi, akawuka akawunya bubi kamwaka, nti oyo kamwaka oyo saagala kuwulira enyamutsimbi, abanyamagulu bagiteje enyamutsimbi, saagala kuwulira ebbanja eririmu okugula erize na baasi eziva bweru. Nedda, sigenda kulikira mutwalire eddala. Naye tumaze okusayininga, bw'oba osayininga ogenza kuddayo nogamba nti niweetonda nti onsonyiwe. Omanyi bano ababbi bano ab'omuluro bo tebafa ku nsi, bali esala ya Mukama waffe bagisoma bubi. Esala ya Mukama waffe gamba nti emmere yaffe y'olwaleero bo ijje baliko yokka. Biri ebitundu eby'ensala ebirala tebabisoma, babeera ku emmere y'olwaleero, emmere y'olwaleero. Nembagamba ntisobola okukkiriza baasi wano. So no more wholly built buses. But secondly, no more assembling. Kubanga assembling njeyo nayo yalimu akakodyo nti baasi bagikolere bweru yonna bagirete mu butundutundu bagiyungire wano olwo ne weerimba nti nkoze baasi. No, you are just kayungirizi wa baasi ekoleddwa bweru. Kwe kugamba nti nedda tetwagala kugulira ekigambo assembly, twagala fabricating. Fabricating is totally different. That means you may bring some parts, but the others you make them here. The body, the what. You may bring the chassis, then you build the body. You build it here, and then manufacturing. So kati erituvuddeyo mu kusaka kugula baasi ewedde ezimbiddwa, ogw'omuziro. Nze neddira nti Lubombwe ndi wante ewaffe mulema, kati omuziro omulala mu baasi ezimbiddwa bweru, ogw'omuziro. Omuziro omulala okuyunga. We must fabricate, then manufacture. Ate omuziro omulala eyo maaso tugenda okukiteesaako kigambo kya second hand vehicles. But as we start with the buses, we go to the pickups. Once we make here, then we say no more second hand. Once we make here, tetugenda kukitomera, tugenda kubaita nitukiteesaako nti zino emotoka enkadde zino zantunda bikadde tuziyimiriza ddi. So therefore, this is the journey we are moving on now. I want to salute Professor Tokodri, Musasizi, and his group at Makerere, who took the initiative and did the research in the Faculty of Engineering when they invited me for the green car. I thank them so much. And I thank them for their dedication. Now, I'm glad Omugurusi Kaseja. Omugurusi is the New Hectare word for old man. Omugurusi Kaseja is Omugurusi. It's a word of respect. In other areas, when you say Omugurusi, they feel annoyed. No, I feel very happy when so Omugurusi nsanyukira ddala. So Omugurusi Kaseja has answered very well. Because you have Abanyankole, they have their proverb. Galiembibo gashekere kiteme. Amanyo gomuntu atalengera wala. Baba atelese ensigo zokusiga. Enjala nemukwata. Aja yensigo nazifumba nazirya. Kati esawa yokusiga bwetuuka amannyo agali ensigo gasekera endimiro kubanga tegalina kyakusiga gali adda kati bannange nasiga ki kubanga ensigo nazirya nakola ki? How do you say? What is embibo nkazirya amannyo gomuntu atalengera wala gali ensigo nigasekera endimiro kubanga alina kyakusiga. Naye kati Omugurusi Kaseja alaze nti ye alengera kubanga agambye nti oba tufa tufe tunoonye obuwumbi 141 tuyinza okuyimiriza ko oluguuto olumu oluguuto olwo lugira lulindako omukifo kyokutandika omwaka guno lunatandika omwaka oguddako kubanga kino kizaala sente. Oluguudo teruzaala sente mangu. Twala ng'enguuto zikoze okutuukira ddala Karamoja, enguuto zonna zikoze. Naye abasinga okukozesa enguudo ezo batamiivu. Abalimba, abagenda kulimba, abasamize, abagenda kusamira ekiro. Singa olindako n'ogamba nti oluguuto luno kubanga kino kyo kizaala sente mangu. Owulidde bw'oteekamu obuwumbi 141 ne kigwa emyaka ebiri giddako n'oteekamu obumbi 7 omwaka ogwokusatu kizaala. So it's bad planning to fail to complete this one, and then you just go. So therefore, I salute. You cannot fail to see what can produce results quickly, and then you just scatter all over the place. So I salute Omuguruska Seija for that good decision. Finally, I am really this time determined. I don't know whether there are members of parliament here. Are there members who are here? Who is that one?
Your Excellency, I'm the area member of parliament, Zijan David Livingstone, also
Who?
the Dean of the Independents in the 11th Parliament.
What's your name?
Zijan David Livingstone.
Zijan.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Are you a good man or a bad one?
I am a product of your leadership, sir, and your leadership produces fantastic people.
Oh, very good. Katumtwali Rao. So now, there's another member of parliament.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Loi Katali Umanempi Jinja.
Who?
Loi Katali.
Oh, Katali.
Yes.
Jinja.
Yes, sir.
You are the former member of parliament. You are the one who was there before.
Yes, Your Excellency.
You won the election.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So now the members of parliament, I've been telling everybody for a long time that really, if you want your country to develop, although we still have other issues, but yes.
Your Excellency, the neighbor, woman member of parliament, Buyukwe district, Mutasingwa Diana.
Okay, Mutasingwa Diana, yes. I've been telling our people that please, if you want your country to develop, pay the scientists well. Even if we don't have enough money to pay everybody well, but let us start with the scientists. But you know, nange numukuru, nange numukuru, nange numukuru. Okay, oli mukuru na ye okututaasa bwe tuba tufunye ekizibu ng'ekigambo ekyentambula nga kino owasoma Shakespeare tasobola kutukolera motoka. Agenda kugamba Shakespeare bwe yayimirira bwati yagamba bwati. Okay, kale wobale nnyo otulaze nti omutima gwo omutwe gw'okukola naye emotoka eri luddawa. Kati bwe tufuna obulwadde nga buno bwa korona tuba tukyali awo ani atuyambye? Ogwanga yasoma ki? Science. Abasawo baffe korona eno abaana bano babonyaabonye. You can imagine these children, the doctors and the nurses in intensive care unit every day. Now it's 1.5 years. Abana babera mu ddwaniro eri ebyobulamu. So I have been telling people, yes, I know. Me, I studied literature. Bwombuze bya Shakespeare byonna bimanyi. Shakespeare yayimirira bwati n'agamba bwati ate yakyuka. Okay, thank you very much. Naye ekirungi nze ate nasomako ka science kale ak'emundu ako nako nange ndi science mungeri eyo. But the people who have really saved the country are the scientists. So these young people, like these ones here, these young people, tufiirwa ki abaana abo bwe tubasasula bulungi ne banywerera wano ne balemwa okusumwasumwa kugenda bweru okusumanya kugenda South Africa kugenda wa bona ne basigala wano si bangi kubanga mbuziza abana science ba government bali bameka tebanga nti bali emitwalo 5 59,000 I was told abanene n'abatono nasizi bona awamu bali emitwalo 5 mukenda out of 480,000 public servants. Singa abana bano tubasasula bulungi bona ne basigala wano omusawo nasigala wano engineer nasigala wano oli ogwanga owamadagala nasigala wano, then fabarara ngaze aba Shakespeare tulija luvanyuma nafe batwongereko, but my people were not listening. Fena twasoma nze nasoma Latini Sanctus Saba so nolecho njagala aba NRM aba cabinet mukirize tusasule ba scientists bano bulungi esente bwe teziwera okusasola fenna awamu leka bano basoke kubanga kirabika obuyambi bwabwe tubwetaaga mangu. Nze wa Shakespeare nange ni mukulu naye byange biyinza kujja luvanyuma ono asose n'atutaasa obulwadde nga kino ekyentambula, practical things. If we do that, this country will move because these people here, like the Musasis and Tokodru, even when they were getting, now they are getting a little bit better now because of my struggle insisting. But at that time they were getting very little. But they are the ones who came up with this. You look at this one now. Nobody can oberambia Shakespeare yayimirira bwati ate yatunira eno n'agamba bwati. Okay, webale nnyo oli mugezi tukutegedde naye tunatambula tutya ebintu binkwatako nze nasoma Shakespeare. No, that's really bad planning. Esinga China zemulaba ezavayo mangu, Japan, Germany batekako nnyo esira kuba na science. So with these few words, it is my honor to declare today ejinja litadeko Katonda ababere. Thank you.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send, and 21. Everywhere you go, MTN.